Hi, I'm Steve Christopher, and welcome to my no, it's not my collection. It's Paul's collection. Welcome to Brooks' Basement. I'm an architect by day, an actor, kind of wannabe filmmaker, jack of all trades by nights, weekends, and any other free time I get. And I'm here in Brooks' Basement to share some of the movies that I enjoy. So I thought I would start with just a representation of horror classics, 50 horror classics here that Paul has. Got the Phantom of the Opera, Metropolis, Hunchback, Nosferatu, a lot of the more, I guess, the talkies as well, the Universal monsters. Those are what influenced me as a kid. I loved monsters. I loved playing monster. I loved watching all the TV shows that were popular of the day. Dark Shadows. I would crawl out of the toy box as Barnabas Collins with a cape on. So all of those classics are really what I was brought up on, watching the ones from the 30s and 40s and whatever on TV at night. So that's a little bit about what really got me into the horror genre. But I love all genres, even though I said how much the horror genre is something I love. Office Space and Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So Office Space, again, it came out more recently, so it affects me more recently because I've held a corporate job for almost 40 years now. And this is almost exactly what it's like. And we've gone through even downsizing where I almost feel like pushing the partition over like he does in the movie. So that's a movie that really speaks to me as an adult. And as a kid, Fast Times at Ridgemont High was my high school experience. Everything about it. I felt like I was a little bit of Spicoli and Damone and the Judge Reinhold character. I forget the character's name, but I was a little bit of all of those. I felt like I was always either the fumbling nerdy guy, or I went to the rock concerts. I also hung out with a lot of stoners and did all that kind of scene. So this touched a little bit of everything about me in high school that movie has always been a favorite of mine. I'm going to go to Drag Me to Hell. That one, when it came out, I've always been a fan of Sam Raimi. I remember watching Evil Dead 2 in a movie theater. We had heard how good Evil Dead was. We didn't have a way to watch it back then. But Evil Dead 2 was coming out. Didn't realize it was basically a remake of one, so we basically saw both in one setting. But our game in that one was rolling our beer bottles down the floor of the theater as the beer that we snuck in. But Drag Me to Hell. So when Sam Raimi came out with this one, I was very excited to see it, and it was really just I didn't expect pretty much anything that happened in it. I really was thrown for a loop. I remember the fight with this old lady in the car in the parking deck. Crazy scene. But as I was getting on a plane, I think it was in L.A. Chelsea Ross plays a character in the movie. I thought it was her dad, but Paul's corrected me. I think it was her boss. In the movie, was standing in line in front of me, and I'm looking at him like, where do I know this guy? And he was in front of me in the line shortly after I saw the movie, like within a week or so of seeing the movie. For me, just a typical Sam Raimi, but it was still over the top more than I ever expected. Mr. Wood. We'll talk about Mr. Wood. I had some friends that actually worked on it, so I got to see some of the prosthetics in that when it was post-production but hadn't come out yet. And I'm thinking, yeah, that doesn't really look too much like Bela Lugosi, that face that they put on Martin Landau. But then when I saw the movie, I was like, he's doing a perfect job. Ironically, Martin Landau had ties to Bloomington, Illinois. I was on a flight from Bloomington to go to Chicago or St. Louis, and he sat in front of me on a plane. He just said he had family here. I don't know who, but he would come here often. I never did see him beyond that one time, but he was from the area or had connections to the area. So that's kind of cool. But this movie, it opened me to, I understand Paul is a big fan of Ed Wood, and it opened me up to his movies, and we'd gather around with all the stuff we could get our hands on. Some of it VHS, some DVD, but always fun to catch an Ed Wood movie. So this Devil's Reign, Paul said I could count it because it's down here, just the art, the cover, the box art of the poster of it. I knew it was at a point when I knew who John Travolta was. So seeing him in a very short, quick scene was it just blew my mind that John Travolta's in this movie and he's not on the cover. Nobody talks about it on the box or anything, but he's in the movie. And of course, it's primarily an Ernest Borgnine vehicle. The movie itself is depicted in the characters that he evolves into and becomes totally whacked out cult leader turned goat or whatever that is. And I had the cool opportunity. I didn't actually work directly with him, but we're in a movie together. So I have a film credit. My buddy Sam Borowski did a comedy called Nightclub about a senior home that's turned into a nightclub by night. And Ernie was in that, along with a lot of other actors, Mickey Rooney, I think, Paul Sorvino, several others. So I have a film credit with Ernie. Didn't get a chance to meet him before he passed, but that movie, very terrifying again to me when I saw it as a kid, and I revisited it maybe 6 years ago, and equally as disturbing. It really is. I've done movies that deal with satanic cults and that genre, and I get creeped out even making them. Probably because of seeing this one. I think probably started my own queasiness of being around those films. So Squirm, for those that haven't seen it, the worms are radiated in the ground and come up and just attack people. I don't know that worms really have teeth that could do anything, but in the movie, they're stuck to everyone's face and their arms, and they're just totally devouring these people in this small redneck kind of a town. What holds a close place in my heart for this is that I saw at the drive-in. My aunt took us to watch movies at the drive-in, and Squirm was like the after hours movie, the one that started like at 11 and the kids were supposed to be asleep, but I wasn't asleep. And I remember peeking over the seat and watching this thing and just being totally terrified of that this was going to be real. And I think in general, that's a thing that for me with horror films is the ones that you feel like that might actually happen scare me more than ones that are a scary monster. So those are the ones I think that creep me out the most, is the ones that could really happen, and Squirm was one of those for me. The Return of the Living Dead Part 2, my friend Marcia Dietline's in that. I actually met her the same time I met my actor friend Danny Roebuck. We were in the same store together. They were hanging out. They were running errands or whatever and stopped in there, and I happened to run into him there. So I actually have known her as long as I've known him. And now we've done several movies together. But Marcia played a character in this one, and I remember that being kind of the thing I knew her for at the time when I first met her. And then this one, another good friend of mine, Chucky Williams, who is he's a great producer. He's directed, he's acted, he does a lot of things. He went all out on this one called Dark Walker. He plays the creature on the front there and on the back. And he'll do just about anything for a movie, and he'll promote the heck out of it if he makes one for you. But Dark Walker, the other side story to this mask that was made just for the movie, when they were doing the movie Knocked Up, the props guy, Sean Mannion, is a friend, another mutual friend. He was looking for things to put in the background because the guy was supposed to be like a toy collector and had all kinds of, stuff like Paul does and like I have at my house sitting out. But they needed stuff that was either not licensed or that we had the rights to in some way. And since that was for Chuck's movie that he produced, he was able to use that. So if you watch the movie Knocked Up, you'll see the Dark Walker mask in the background. Oh, I am on the back of this. 13 Slaves Till Christmas. It's a bunch of little short stories. I think 13 short stories, and I played one of them. I'm Kringles the Christmas Clown. It's on the back here. You actually see my character there. That was a fun one to shoot. It was all made by different writers, directors, and then they pulled it all together and made a little wraparound story to go with it. And I've done that a few times. There was a movie called The Telling we did that we shot at mostly the Playboy Mansion and the Hollywood Castle and other locations around Los Angeles that I helped produce, worked with. That was another Chuck Williams project, actually. And then I played the killer that killed Bridget Marquardt at the end of it. So I love playing the killer. I love being the bad guy. I love being a part of all that. And speaking of, I've known Paul for years. Keep that in mind. This wasn't just a first time we met or anything. But the most recent project we worked on together, Hunting for the Hag, coming soon to Blu-ray, DVD.
Just Blu-ray.
Oh, I'm sorry. Coming soon to you on Blu-ray. I don't know how soon, but soon, I've been told. So look for that. Definitely get that when you get a chance. It's great to be here. I don't know that I've been through the collection as intensely as I have here today, and it's a pretty cool setup that he's got here. And later.